Christian says that you've got some special thing planned.
Yeah, it's like a crazy 9-day festival. It only happens every 90 years.
You're gonna love it.
Quick programming note from UPRE, some admin. We apologize to Casper. We apologize to Stone Cold Steve Austin and Michael Jai White. We apologize to the Possessor and whatever Chrissy's last pick was. To the makers of No Time to Die, we will never forgive you. Let's start the show. All right, tonight we're doing Midsommar, which was supposed to be yesterday. I can't rhyme the two. But here's a synopsis before I bring everybody in. 4 friends visit the remote village of one of their own, and slowly but surely it becomes clear all is not what it seems. Now, as the tradition goes, we go to the one first who picked this movie. Her name is Elsa. Elsa, will you be singing to us tonight?
I won't. So let it go.
Let it go. There you go. You see that? She's quick on the toes. Elsa's pick is Midsommar. Next, I'm going to go to a man who's tribal. I don't know what tribe it is, but he's going to tell us. How are you doing, sir?
Hi. Hi.
Or not. How are you doing?
Bueno, estamos bien. I mean, first movie to make me fall asleep. So, but there's a lot of I mean, there's a lot to say. Okay. A lot went down. That's all. I'll leave it at that, because then I'm going to talk too much.
Now, before I bring in the person who's truly responsible for Midsommar, because he started UPRE, let me just say, did you decide to turn on the lights tonight, Vic, because this movie takes place entirely in the daytime, or usually you're in shadow, but tonight it's very bright where you are? So.
No, I changed positions because I realized that it just kept like taking me out and take me in, and I had to, you know what I mean? So I figured out a better place to position myself.
No innuendos were meant in what he just said, ladies and gentlemen. That's also makes sense. Last but not least, as I teased before, is the executive consultant. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing well on this Friday evening. I got my days mixed up. That's what happens when you have health effects after watching. We'll talk more about that. But it's good to see all these friendly faces here tonight. Yeah. Happy to be here.
Now, Elsa, you are the lady who brought us Midsommar. Would you tell us why you picked this movie and what did you like about it?
Sure. So this movie was a long time coming. I would have picked it during Halloween month because it's just so eerie and creepy, and also takes a very interesting look at how mental health and grief really affect you, especially when the circumstances are so drastic, and just how that would play out. I thought that was really interesting. Grief played a huge role in this, and anxiety. Throughout the movie, you see how Danny is just suppressing herself, suppressing her anxiousness, and suppressing all of the things that Christian called drama to accommodate him and his capability or lack thereof of empathizing with her. Yes, they definitely should have broken up. Mark mentioned that kind of goofy Stifler-esque friend in the group.
He seemed out of place. How old was he supposed to be?
Well, there's always one douchey bro-y friend who just, has the absolute worst advice. Or maybe he has good advice, but just delivery is absolute shit. So I'm glad that they had him as kind of the comic relief. It was very much so needed in this movie. Because it really, I think what Ari Aster does very well is capture grief and use it to really help the audience feel in that space and relate to his protagonist. So I really like this movie because of that take, that kind of take of grief and how grief and horror can be intertwined to create something truly terrible and fear-inducing. I also really liked a lot of the very subtle details and not so subtle details, like the background art. From the very first scene, as soon as the movie starts, there's a tapestry that essentially foreshadows the happenings of the film. And then immediately after, paired with that tapestry, you get this very lighthearted, Christmassy, fairy tale music background that just really gives you that fairy tale feeling and makes you feel almost comforted. We come in and during the winter time, it's snowy. We see Danny is alone, which is an ongoing theme throughout this movie, as well as that loneliness and how it amplifies whatever grief and anxiety you already are inherently carrying with you every day. And we see her, she's leaving a message for her parents. They're asleep. Okay. But the way that it pivots from kind of her anxiety and anxiousness about the email from her sister, who is bipolar, and just what's going on with them and checking in on them, and them appearing fine and just sleeping. The beginning kind of builds up the idea that Danny truly is this dramatic, like, girlfriend that's just too much for Christian to handle, and he has to escape her. She's just like this anchor holding him down and holding him back. And then once you see that her family truly did die and she had a reason to be worried, she was justified in how she was reacting. And you can see how Christian just handled it so poorly. But it's only with that hindsight being 2020 thing. She didn't know that her family was going to be murdered that evening, and Christian didn't either. But it just really amplified their dynamic not working. She really needed somebody. She was lonely. And on top of that, she had a lot of stuff going on with her family, and it was really sad. Now, what happened from that point, it was just amplified circumstances, scary, whatever. They're in a different place, in a different land. There's no nighttime. And drugs are kind of being force-fed down all the visitors' throats from the very moment they step out of their vehicle. For me, watching this for the 5th time, because yes, I've watched it that many times, I was able to pick up on a bunch more details, but I'm definitely interested in what you guys have to say and what you picked up on throughout the film, whether you hated it or not.
Okay. Since I don't have an intro like you, would you all mind on the bottom if I went next? I take that as a yes. I wanted to, because I'm a joker, I wanted to flame some of the things that you said because we were joking backstage, but you made cogent points, and far be it from me to not respect when somebody makes cogent points. I didn't come at it from the angle of a movie about mental health, and I haven't seen The Lighthouse. I think this is the same director of The Lighthouse. And I think grief plays or loss plays heavily in that, although please don't spoil it in the comments because I haven't seen that one yet, plays heavily into that one as well. And that one looks fantastic. And probably if I had seen that movie first, I would have been anticipating what I thought in Midsommar was a very languid pace. And when I say languid, my name is fall, winter, spring, because that's how long this movie took to get through. Okay. It was long as hell. But I will give it credit for this, and you mentioned it, effective use of daylight. Now, conversely, what I didn't like is they had a lot of inverted shots. He talked about a shot earlier, spoiler alert for those who haven't seen it or for those who are affected by this. There's a shot of the parents in bed, and we think that the parents are just asleep. But as the camera begins to pull out and we see more and more glimpses of that, we realize that they were, I don't want to, they were, I don't know if I can say gassed. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but and by somebody else in the house. And that's what sets the protagonist into a whirlspin, which is where we follow her throughout. And so if I'm looking at it through that lens, the direction of the movie makes sense because it is very here and there, and it's hard to just follow because we're watching it through her narrative. And I will say this, she is probably the most annoying protagonist ever, because even before we find out about that, and even after, because we don't know the time difference between after she finds out about her parents and her boyfriend just inviting her onto this trip, which was supposed to be a guy's trip, which arguably have been manipulated and added to by one of the members based on something that one of the characters says at the end of the movie. She was annoying even in that because she didn't have any kind of social cues. And that to me, I was like, this woman, they're like pushing 30, and this woman is acting like she's an adolescent. And it's very funny to me because Christian goes from being seemingly a mature adult to an adolescent the minute he gets there. They haven't even taken the ayahuasca, whatever the Swedish version of that is. Okay. But it's like characters are swapping. And ironically, Danny finds the family that she thought she wanted to get rid of, in the sense of, I don't want to be coddled, to the family that she really craved. Another thing I'm going to give credit to this movie that I really liked is their shared emotion, whether elation or sorrow. They all did it as a community, and that's not something that I've ever seen before on film. And it was, albeit the background of what was going on was crazy, but that was very beautiful that they meant what they said, in that we are a family, right? So I give it credit for that. Oh, and I mentioned the inverted shot, so I like the daylight, but when they did in the beginning, you see a lot of inverted shots where the camera is like as if it was filming on water and you're seeing a reflection. I don't think a lot of that was necessary, because I thought it was so effective, the setting and the atmosphere. And I thought had they stuck to that, it would have driven home the same point. And especially when they take their different trips throughout the movie, because they're on that for that entire week on these different trips, and everything that they're ingesting is doing that for them. We see that effect anyway, and reality is warping. So we didn't really need the camera to do that. I think that's just a personal choice, right? Can I talk about the Get Out in Midsommar? There's a black character in this movie whose actions are, I'm not saying this to be, derogatory, but they're the exact opposite of what they should be. And I said to myself, no black man wrote his part, because he does things that black people just don't do.
Yeah.
They really, they just don't do it. And he arguably, and when I say the smartest one, he has the most knowledge. I think he speaks multiple languages in this movie. He understands some Swedish to some extent. He even reads runes. And I think he understood more of that, their holy book, than he let on. We talked about the tapestry. He talked about the tapestry. He even was putting the pieces together. And I argue that he figured out what was happening and what they were going to do. And so I thought, oh, this is a brilliant shot to show that, because he's literally, the night before, he's sleeping in his drawers, like, not trying to be, anything like that, but he's sleeping in his drawers, very, very comfortable, And then the next night, once you see him looking at the tapestry and he's pieced it together, he has his shoes on. He's ready to bounce. I'm thinking, He does the most unblack thing ever. He sneaks into the room in the middle of the night and is taking flashes with the windows wide open, their version of a priest right behind him. He doesn't clear the room. Instead of hightailing it literally out of there. Shout out to the English couple. I don't know if that's how they get down in the UK, but it was very American. The minute they saw that scene, which was a very effective, I saw it coming, but like that they were that graphic, I kind of appreciated that. They were like, "We're out of here." What are you, crazy? The only thing that they did wrong was they were trying to save other people. No, baby, save yourself. Don't tell nobody. I would have been humming with those people. I would have been crying. This is beautiful. Shangri-La, all that. And when they sat down for lunch, I would have gumbeat my way out of there. Quick. You would have never, if you left something behind, you would never see me again. I don't need no ride. I remember the way back. You see what I'm saying? But shout out to them for being the only ones who had common sense. Then they had a teenager with them who I think is going to play in the next Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Okay. Why was he a teenager and everybody else was like 30 years old getting their doctorate degrees in this movie? He was like from Road Trip or something, or Euro Trip. I didn't understand what he was doing. He wanted to screw everybody, but then when it came down to it, he was scared. I don't know who was in that church, but I did see their penis. And that was the last point that I had to make. This movie had a lot of penis, did it not? They were not shy about that. And I say penis and not, the colloquial, but there was erect penis, there was flaccid penis, there was covered penis, there was jogging penis, and broken ankles.
I only remember
his ankles was busted. His ankles, he couldn't go out quick like old girl. He had to feel that. Then they tapped him over the forehead. His legs was already hurting. You couldn't put that thing on his tongue too?
Tap.
Shout out to Bear Man at the end of that movie. Shout out to Bear Man. He couldn't even look around and see the twig people. But salute, best of all, was the last dude who tricked the English couple into going there. And he's in there, and he sees his homeboy, who is, I assume, is his brother. And they're looking at each other. His homeboy's looking at him like he just ejaculated. He's elated. But when that fire touched his ankles, he started screaming like, "The bees! The bees!" And you see all of the joy leave that other dude's face. It was hilarious to me. Charmaine, I was cracking up laughing because I waited so long for that movie. And last but not least, let me get to this point. Not just in the tapestry, but it was so telegraphed what was going to happen. There was no suspense for me. I literally just wanted to be over. I said, can somebody just go in there and read that fake Bible? Can somebody just go into that yellow pyramid at the end of the thing that nobody's guarding? Can somebody just try and leave? The dude pissed on the tree that he saw them burying their people on. What were you thinking? But here's the problem that I have with all those deaths. With the exception, and you could argue with the exception of the English couple, everybody that they killed had committed some crime against them. But at the end of the movie, they say, you brought these sacrifices to us. They were always going to be the sacrifice. So why did the movie play it up that the dude peed on the sacred tree? Why did it play it up that Christian was chosen by the new spring queen? Why did it that the black guy had taken pictures of their holy book, which they said you can't do, right? Why did they show that as if they had committed crimes and that's why they were killed, when really they were always going to be killed? Again, the same way when they inverted the camera, they were always going to be killed and sacrificed. Why did the movie show it as if they were killed for some other reason? That, to me, artistically didn't make sense. But they gave that British dude butterfly wings with his lungs. And old girl, they just... Where was the meat coming from? Were they eating the people? That's what I was thinking. Except for the coochie pie. And that's no pun... Well, that's pun intended, but it's a coochie pie. They were eating the other people. You're telling me that people taste like cow? Anyway,
They had cows.
I didn't see any of them killed, and those people were skinned. So what happened to the meat?
So they have to explicitly show the cows being killed?
Yes. They showed the bear being killed. right? And the people, they just showed skinned. They never showed what happened to the bodies, the meat. Those people don't waste anything. Remember that.
Yeah, too, because they were showing the kid. They were showing how they were dissecting
Yeah.
the bear. Kids were all a part of the dissection of the bear.
Exactly.
So it could have been bear they were eating. Bear got a lot of food.
Oh, you think all that time?
Mark did say it's like they're trying to make the food taste bad.
What do you think tastes better, people or coochie pie? Who wants to go first?
It depends on the species of coochie pie.
Oh, I knew you were gonna say it just depends on the coochie, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm supposed to give a thumbs up or thumbs down. I will give it a thumbs up because the Spring Queen was crazy as hell. I would have left, but I give this movie a thumbs up. When it got going, I finally was entertained because it was so stupid to read, but I enjoyed it. I give it a thumbs up.
All right. So, best of, worst of, ladies and gentlemen. In case you didn't notice, we have a different format. We're going back kind of old school on this one. So let's talk about let's start off with the best scenes of this movie. I gotta give James credit. He made some good points. He said once the movie got going, right? So I was watching the movie and I'm like, what is this? You heard that? That was awkward silence. I heard that through a lot through this movie. So I was like, what is this? And then finally, Token, as I call him, Token was in a damn church or something, and he's looking at somebody just standing there, and he got bashed in the head. I was like, thank you. Somebody died. Finally, this movie might pick up. And then I got more of that awkward silence. I don't know what the hell happened. That was the best part of this movie, right? Now let's talk about the worst part of this movie. Okay. That was terrible. This movie was 2 hours and 9 minutes, and they've only talked for about 20 minutes. They were at a table and not saying shit. I'm like, did it pause? No, they didn't pause. I see moving. Right? Everybody is stupid. They're like, oh, he left. Where the hell did he go? It took 4 hours to get down the road. I didn't see the car again. I didn't understand what was going on. Token, my man Token woke up. He saw a woman going underneath some dude's bed and just looks at him. Right? I didn't understand that logic. Right? Dude was fucking that girl since he got there. The woman just looked at him like, is he or is he not? Is he or is he not? I'm like, what the hell? Are you stupid? No. Dude, blonde dude, right? Charlotte Flair. You can't tell me he didn't look creepy, right? He's looking creepy since the start. I'm like, come on, you can't see these people are about to eat you? There's something wrong with you. But this movie made no sense. Why did it make sense? Not because of what was happening. It was because I can't believe somebody was not smart enough to say, you know what, I need to get the fuck out of here. That's why that's why I think the movie was so stupid. That and the awkward silence that happened throughout the entire movie. I just don't understand this movie. So I'm over here and I'm thinking, I'm like, oh my God, why did E do this to me? This is E's pick. Why did she do this to me? What did I do to her? I mean, I gave her a job. I gave her good hours. You know what I'm saying? I brought her aboard here. I treated her so well. Why would she do this to me? First, she had me watch the porno known as Possessor, right? She graduated from NC-17 to straight out Pornhub for this one because this movie was just straight porn, right? I'm watching. What was that movie with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman back in the day? You probably like that movie.
Eyes Wide Shut.
Well, yeah, I wish my eyes were wide shut. As I'm watching this dude who's at a dinner table.
Yeah, what was he doing?
And he looks at the other dude who's smiling. What have you done?
He goes.
He was drugged up, y'all.
What have you done to me? Yet I may be drugged up and can barely move, but I'm going to go and screw this woman, right? I'm going to go screw this woman who, hey, is surrounded in a halo full of naked women from all generations.
The witch.
For some reason, you don't see there might be a problem, but I have enough action in my hips to thrust. Oh, just a little bit, because now Granny got to push me a little bit more. This was some sick ass shit. This was sick ass shit. I don't understand why you do it. So I was like, here's something you don't know, right? We're in 2021. I actually, when I saw the movie was done, I got on the phone and I called E Boogie up. Right? I said, I have to understand. Why would you do this to me? This is so evil. This is so evil. You made me watch this movie, and I didn't record it because the sound didn't come out well enough. But I do have a transcript of that conversation, and I'm going to place it up here for you right now. E says, "For you today, I picked Midsommar and graced your screen was the most miserable day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday." And then I realized, yes, you are an evil son of a butter, E. You are an evil person for making me watch this movie. So if you ask me if this movie gets a thumbs up or a thumbs down, I won't give it a thumbs down. I won't give it a finger. I will give it a penis. One penis down, one flaccid penis goes to this movie when it comes to this movie.
Flaccid penis is all I would expect from you. Go ahead, Tribal.
I forgot Grandma was helping them thrust.
Not on air.
Yes, that's a good point. Grandma was helping them thrust.
Okay. Well, there was a lot to take in. Number one, what I didn't like about the movie was that it dragged out. Like it literally dragged out for like an hour before the action. However, the reason my name is Tribal is because I was trying to figure out throughout this whole movie what kind of Swedish tribe this was. Because this felt like a Germanic tribe that never evolved.
Mm-hmm.
So like what was interesting about it is just that I wonder how much of the customs is based on reality. Because some of it makes sense, like the way that they look at life as far as every season being 18 years of a stage, where your spring is the first 18 years of life. Your summer is from 18 to 36, and then from 36 to what is it, to like
54
to like 70 something, you're at another stage, and then after that then you die at 70 something, you know what I mean? And then you literally take your life and your whole, and basically like you look at life where like, all right, you've given everything, and now your life is going to be reincarnated into the next birth, into the next person. Like so it was interesting in a sense, because if you're in that reality where literally your community is just your world and nothing else outside it, it kind of makes sense. And then the fact that everybody feels everything, mind you. And here's what I found strange, right? Because look, the whole May Queen thing, I was just like, damn, they really went all out to distract this woman. They put all these flowers on her and they put all of this stuff. They went all out to distract this woman while they manipulated this guy to go sleep with this girl. And then mind you, it's crazy because I think that as a man, a lot of men would look at it like, damn, I wonder what it would be like to literally have a whole crowd of women just going, and pretty much just hyping you up. Like
describe those women.
Garden, and you know, every pump that you do, it's like they all helping you trying to impregnate this girl. So it's just like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? So I wonder, you know, I think a lot of people look at them like, damn, that's crazy. And all of them are naked, and then you just there like, but then, and then they set it up because, mind you, I feel like that whole thing was a setup. They set it up for them, the May Queen, to literally go look through the peephole. And mind you, it's like she felt it happening, because she went walking from all the way in the other side of wherever she was to the tent to go look through a little keyhole to see him doing that, to then her throw up and feel really bad, and then have everybody come together and cry with her, right? So then, and then the other thing is that at the end of the movie, when he's paralyzed and he's in the bear costume and they burn him up, the last thing that you see is a smile, and it looks like a smile of a woman scorned that's happy to be relieved. Like that's the outlook that I got from that. But then the thing that I didn't understand about it was she knew from the beginning that the relationship was done. She knew from the beginning. Why did she know from the beginning? Because after she spoke to him and he tried to console her, even though he wasn't very good at it, she called her friend. and was telling her friend all of this stuff. Like, yeah, but what if he's this? But what if he's that? And what if I'm pushing him away? And then crying and crying and crying. And what if this? And what if that? You know what? All of those what ifs, they're going into your mind because those are the facts. And that's exactly what went down with that relationship. That relationship should have ended from the very beginning. And I don't know if they set that up to seem that way, but at the end of the day, it's his own fault because he brought Sam to the beach. Should have never taken her there. Should have never taken her there. Should have ended the relationship from the beginning. You two were not happy together. And now I'm very curious to see if there's a sequel because there's a lot of open things. Number one, the guy that was flirting with her from the beginning, I feel like he just manipulated the situation so that he can get her there. You know what I mean? I want to see what comes out with this May Queen situation. And, you know, I'm curious to see what happens with him and her because he's clearly manipulating her. So now the other thing is
you lost me a sequel to this movie. That's what you lost me. Nobody wants to see a sequel to this movie. What is it going to be called? What's it going to be called? Mid-Autumn? No, I don't want to see.
It leaves too many things open.
Vic, they answered. Did you stay for the after credit?
Here's the thing, like that whole hour of like dragged out crap that they put in, they could have told a better story. I feel like they could have done this in an hour and a half and then told more of a story.
This movie was
Vic,
way
did you see
too
the after
long.
credit?
I don't know why
after credit scene?
Too long.
Huh?
Did you see the after credit scene? They explained that.
An after credit scene? No,
because I was curious myself the way it ended, but there's an after credit scene. Did y'all stay for that? Seriously?
No, I didn't.
You know damn well I ain't stay for that shit.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah, I hit my power button so fast.
But what happened? What happened? Because we're not gonna go back and watch.
Yeah,
the guy, I forget the guy's name, but the Swedish dude who brought them to the village that ended up tricking Christian and everybody else. He ended up becoming Doctor Strange, and then the woman.
Yo, stop that, man! You had us believe it. You had me believe it for real.
No, because he went like this. You remember? He got his brother. He said, I brought you a queen. Go in that barn and burn yourself. And he had on his hat. Did you see that?
Next Resident Evil come out. I would have picked that as my movie.
Yeah, I want to see it. What is that? This month, right?
November 24th. November 24th.
No, but in all seriousness, I see the interesting part was
the interesting part is
just trying to figure out how much of this stuff, as far as what was going on in the commune, is based on reality. Is based on a Swedish tribe. I was trying to figure out if it's connected to, you know, one of the tribes from that time or something like that. But you know, other than that, it was very boring. I honestly fell asleep.
I can see why.
Because it dragged out. It really did. But at the same time, it definitely was a little interesting. Hang on a second. Yeah, wait. It was definitely a little interesting.
You tell me, Vic.
Huh?
You tell me.
Yeah. And so yeah, no, it was definitely interesting, and like I'm in the middle because I did fall asleep. You know what I mean? But it was kind of like it was educational, but not entertaining.
Can I ask you a question? Speaking of being in the middle,
I will give it a thumbs down. However, I will say this. I will give it
James at work.
I will say this. If
Chris, I will see you next Saturday night.
Okay. So if there is,
let's not word it like that in case my girl's watching. Please, please let's not word it like that. If I get some text saying, "Who is this girl?" Let's not do that. Okay, but yes, we'll be there for the UPR anniversary party next Saturday.
So Charmaine says, let me reword it. Charmaine says, Chris, I'll see you next Saturday night for the anniversary.
Speaking of being in the middle, what did you think about that porn scene?
Why are you so obsessed with sex?
No,
should be the question.
It was like that circle of witches.
Because here's the thing, you know, honestly, I feel like the first porn scene was when you saw the whole story through the sheets, right? That whole thing about when you saw like everything that was going to happen through on the paintings and the sheets, and when they had like the picture of the woman cutting her pubes, I was like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? I felt like that was very, very graphic and very pornish.
So this movie, if I can jump in one more time,
Tell us about it.
This movie uses a lot of that the juxtaposition of an American being put in another culture, trying to respect the customs. Like I said, Josh, the one black character, was studying anthropology. James, you mentioned it. He's very intellectual. I would say even clinical.
Yep.
He does lack empathy, but he got straight to the point at the pizza shop in the first 15 minutes. And that would have saved Christian if he had just been honest and said, hey, you know what? Actually, I'm using this to distract myself because I'm a self-sabotager.
None of us
self-saboteur. But hey, you know what?
But I think, to your point, I think he figured out like what they were planning to do based on his knowledge of like Germanic cultures and everything. But I was wondering myself, why didn't he just try and leave? Like you said, he was so clinical that
I didn't think he knew all the details.
You don't think so?
I don't think that because the estupa was one piece, right? And it was two people self-sacrificing. Now, I don't think that he realized that the custom of this particular small village of Arendelle, shouts out to Disney, Frozen, that they were going to sacrifice other people, guests of the commune. And there were a lot more guests than we ended up seeing that ended up in the yellow barn.
We saw them on like the first day, right? They were all on those different,
exactly. So yeah, I mean, this movie has a lot of detail packed into it. It really immerses you into their culture as well. And kind of the premise is, if you were in agreement with Danny's decision at the end, the director basically is like, well, then you've been ingratiated into the cult. Like, you would have also fallen had you been targeted in the cult. At the end of that movie, with her smiling, that's the first time that we see her genuinely without despair, as she's demonstrating the rest of the movie. That's the first time we see her genuinely joyful. And it was because she had found a family. She had found a family. She had gotten rid of some dead weight.
She found a murderous family. Vic, thumbs up or thumbs down?
Thumbs down.
All right. Great.
You
know the movie's bad if it gets a thumbs down from Vic. When we come back, we're going to do a recap. Find out what we're reviewing this upcoming Tuesday and Thursday. We'll be right back for part 2. And bring back segments, hour-long shows again. Be right back for part 2 on Popular Review. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen.
You are amazing.
Beginning franchise mode on Tuesday with Spider-Man's leading up to another installment of Spider-Man coming out later this year. What's going on Thursday, you ask?
Before there was a Secret Service, there was
West. Jim West.
Are you a dangerous spy or just a handsome cowboy who likes to poke around?
I believe I'm that second one.
That's right. The end streak of Will Smith hits ended with this movie called Wild Wild West. But tonight, we're going to something even worse. I wish this movie would get buried in the Wild Wild West. It is called Midsommar, which is E. Boogie's pick. And now we're getting into what we like to call one of our favorite segments, Resurrected, here today. Like I felt after I fell asleep and woke back up from watching Midsommar, but Resurrected here today. Hey, you want to tell me a funny story before I go back to this recasted intro? So I actually woke up early in the morning and I didn't feel like going to work at the time. So I said, hey, I'm going to watch Midsommar. Then I looked at it. I said 2 hours and 27 minutes. I said E, and I said an expletive, but luckily she wasn't around me. But I was like, I can't believe you did this crap to me, right? So then I watched some of it, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to work now. Like, I only have about 30 minutes left. That mother effer said 1 hour and 9 minutes. I dropped my phone. I can't hear you, Elsa, and I wish I could hear this movie, but guess what? I did hear this movie for 1 hour and 45 minutes because they didn't say shit to 1 hour and 45 minutes of this movie. They just sat at a table, looked at each other. All right, so we're getting to our recasted segment where we take a title, person, place, or thing, and we take it out of the movie and place something else in its spot. And this is a very fun segment, and I'm looking forward to hearing and seeing what we have going on. And fall, winter, spring, we're going to start with you. You want to go first? What do you have? Oh, did not want to go first.
No, I'll go first. I don't mind.
All right, go ahead.
First, I'd like to say
first of all, always understand with this segment, it brings a lot of shenanigans, and the main culprit of the shenanigans,
Vic,
is Mr. James up there. So I'm really interested in seeing this before I bring some dignity into this segment. Go ahead.
Well, I'd like to say now, welcome back, Vic. But shout out again to Wild Wild West as I get my my recasted ready. The movie that Will Smith turned down the role of Neo, in The Matrix, so he can do Wild Wild West and all them myriad sequel films. Shout out to Will Smith for that. Then he had to go ahead and do Ali to get the taste of Wild Wild West out of his mouth. And then somebody must have whispered in his ear Wild Wild West 2, and he made After Earth, which he says is it's the worst movie ever. But anyway, I might disagree and call it Wild Wild West. Anyway, this is the segment called Recasted. I just have two. Now, Chrissy said that, I forget his name, but I call him Dummy. That Dummy was the only black one in the film, but actually there's another one. He's just lighter skinned. I don't know if E is discriminating, but he's a British black. And there was, he's a British black. And I said earlier, there's a scene when these people jump off a cliff, literally face first, like Looney Tunes. No cloud of smoke rain. They just go plop like that. Then an old man literally breaks his ankles, not on the basketball court, but from a cliff that's clearly like 300 feet tall, while everybody watches in silence, okay? And they freak out, as you would. Ironically, the protagonists in the movie don't have any reaction. Why? I don't know. But anyway, the British couple who did all the same drugs, they had the reaction, and they're like, what? This is crazy, as you would. And they're freaking out, and they're saying, hey, get us out of here. We got to go. And that was the MO. However, when it came down to it, they messed up. They didn't follow my rule. If you remember the Halloween episode, I told you my one rule for surviving that. And I'd like to recast it for this one. Excuse me. Wrong one. I'd like to recast it. This is the British couple.
Come on there, mix up them condiments the way I do.
That's enough. I'm gonna flip out. Get behind me, baby. You people are sick, wicked, funky, misanthropic, codependent animals. And I won't have my sister, who was once the queen of the Mardi Gras, sitting at a table with a pickle shooting train.
He's right. We gotta go.
Fine. Come on, baby.
Now that scene is from Nothing But Trouble. And they came upon a crazy family who wanted to keep them hostage. And when you see the other couple who's just sitting at the table eating them nasty looking hot dogs or whatever they were eating, they said, all right, this is enough. You're crazy. Let's go. They were willing to jump out the window. Right? That's what I was waiting for somebody to do, especially the real black one, as E calls him, but he didn't do that. He's taking flash pictures at night in a village where everybody can see.
Mm-hmm.
Last but not least, I just have one more recast, if you'll indulge me. And again, when it's clear that things are crazy, instead of running to the woods, which are right there, this person decides to go into a barn. Like Smokey from Friday. He goes into the chicken coop. and he sees a man with butterfly wings. Instead of, he should have just ran in the woods. And this is what I would recast that scene as, because he's seen literally, it's not a circle jerk, but literally it's a circle chant expletive. He's already experienced that, and they drugged him several times. This is what he should have done.
Yeah, no.
Now you're thinking two things. One, that was a long ass recasted. I'm sorry about that. But the second thing is that movie looks more interesting than Midsommar. That's The Empty Man. And if you want to see a movie about somebody doing what they should have done, that's it. Because when you recognize that they're crazy, the lights go out, and you take one step, they take a step, you hightail it. And just as the lady said, he's right. We gotta go. That's my recasting.
Okay.
Yeah, Cliff, you're muted.
I agree. Both those recasted was better than anything I saw in this movie. Anything.
That made no sense.
Elsa, your go.
I'm gonna go in. I forgot to tell you my best line, so I'm gonna get into that first. My favorite line is when Christian gets kicked by the girl that likes him, and he asks Pele, "Hey, can I just join the conga line? Like, what's it giving? Like, is that okay? Is that a thing that's like doable here for me, an American?" And Pele is like, "Oh, well, you're an American. Just jam yourself in there."
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was hilarious and foreshadowing. And recasted, you know, y'all really need a white man silhouette, because I think Christian could be played by any white man silhouette. White actor even. I think every woman who is straight has dated somebody that is as inconsiderate as Christian was, and has equally inconsiderate friends and had to be subjected to them. So I'm going to go ahead and say the three of y'all could be recasted as the friend group. And I guess that would make me Danny, completely miserable, dealing with people who don't understand me, and are calling me the miserable one. So those are my two recasted.
E, if we're ever in any situation, you better not trip, because I'm going to remind you what you said tonight.
I would not rely on you if I did.
Nor should you. Because when it's go time and I take off running, you better not ask no question. Just run with me.
Mm.
Tribal?
All right. Oh, you're going to put the thing? Yeah, go ahead. Put the thing, Chris. You're not going to do that. Oh, okay, cool. So there's this one guy that, in this movie, he didn't really make any sense because, like it was stated before, there was a whole bunch of people that were there that were super smart, doing thesis statements, doing all of this other stuff. But then there was this one guy who was just like consistently just looking to get laid. Reminded me of the guy from what's it called, from Eurotrip, that was just like looking for a good time. But his look, for some reason, the whole time, I just couldn't get past the way that he looked. And the main person that I kept thinking about the whole time was the guy from American Pie, the Shermanator. That's the guy that and mind you, and it kind of fit the character a little bit, because he was just focused on getting laid. And just like him, the Shermanator was always just trying to figure out a way to get laid. And mind you, in American Pie, he finally does get laid and to like the hottest chick in the school, which is awesome. But anyway, yeah, Shermanator. Yeah, I forgot. I couldn't get the original picture of the guy, but he looked just like him and he acted like him. But yeah, that was a funny thing, aside from all the craziness. And then the other recasted that I have is for every single woman that was going, could be this woman right here. Just generic Karen. All of them. Every single one.
Put wrinkles on that silhouette. Because that's what they look like in that circle.
Did you just think of that like 2 seconds ago? When she mentioned a black man, some white man silhouette. Did you just think about that?
No, I was thinking about that earlier too, because like, you know, I mean, even when all of them was just crying, you know what I mean? You could have just put any girl in there.
You know what's amazing to me is the fact that, you know, it seems like that was your favorite scene, because you got the rhythm down and everything with it. It's amazing to me.
Because I was thinking about it. I'm just like, could you imagine just having a group of people like, because it was like a hype. You know what I mean? It's like, you know how you have a hype man or whatever at a concert? It was like having just a sea of hype girls just there watching you while you going. I think that would be an ego boost to like a lot of guys.
So y'all had me watch Coming to America about a little over a year ago. And I said at the end of the movie, I wanted to find some women to pay them to throw flowers to my feet when I walk into a room.
That's different though. Throwing flowers,
but I'm thinking maybe what you got from this movie.
And grabbing your tits and then going while somebody else.
There you go again. I'm thinking like, what you like in this movie is that hype man feel. I think when you have your honeymoon, you're gonna hope that you're sort of whipping around and go, hey. That sounds like what you're trying to do.
No, man, listen.
Just don't have Granny push your ass. So look, check this out. I got some. I'm gonna do this guy. What's his name? Y'all called him Christian? Isaac? I don't know. Okay. All right. He looks like a young person to me. He looks like a young person that should be delivering speeches when the aliens attack.
He will not go out without a fight.
You know, he definitely didn't go out without a fight, right? He just got burned alive. So that was recast number one. Dignity, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Cedar Sapir for always saying this when she came on. I guess I can't. Hold up. I got to do a good C impersonation. I got you. Because I came prepared. Yes. The only one here that came prepared. That's C. Okay. All right. Now, I got another one for you. There's more. Where are we at? Oh, this chick. Bam. What's her name? Danny?
Annoying.
I'm still waiting for Black Widow to show up.
Danny here.
Is that the same actor?
Yeah.
No. Danny here is the same is somebody who needed to be recasted. And this is the person who I think could have played the role better and made the role character a little more interesting. And as you could do that.
What?
Yeah.
No. I think she could have did the role better. I think she could have brought a little bit more charisma to the role instead of trying to be a board queen. Yeah. She could have actually impressed somebody here. I think she would, and I don't and understand. I'm not even just talking about the actress. I'm talking about her playing the role of Carrie and just coming in here and vanquishing every single one of those damn mother effers that had to watch in that damn village. That would have made the movie 10 times more better. One more recasting for you, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the scene they were going, I'm not going to go get that out of my head for 24 hours, right? It's not that scene, though. I'm going to recast the scene where they were crying together, right?
Wow.
That scene needed to be. And I'm just going to recast it by putting a different actress in there, or actor in this case, in there. That's this. Because that's how I felt after watching this movie. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us here at UPRE and watching this movie review, Midsommar. Join us tomorrow for an episode of Squid Games. Join us on Tuesday for Spider-Man, and of course next Thursday for Wild Wild West, for Elsa for Fall, Winter, Spring. I guess, you don't want to talk about Somar. Definitely don't want to do that. Tribal, I'm the executive consultant. We will see you right here next time on UPRE.